That took us. That took us into the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey, receiving her second opportunity at the SmackDown Women's Championship against a woman who tells us to watch her, and boy, have we been watching her, Liv Morgan.
I like how they use the baddest woman on the planet, and it's not like bad as Michael Jackson is good. It's just bad. It's just bad.
I think in full disclosure, and I might get a bit roasted for this, but I always speak the truth as I see it. Yeah. I'm not a fan of either of these two. Rousey, I think, is just taking up a spot that's not, from someone else that could probably come up. I don't rate her as a wrestler at all. She doesn't have any passion for the business. To me, it doesn't appear that she has any passion for the business. I don't know whether you saw on the kickoff show, even Booker T, which surprised me he'd say it. He said, well, what does she have? She has an armbar and a hip hop. And I thought, shit, that was probably
right too.
I know, but you didn't expect to sort of see it on their coverage.
This is another good thing currently about WWE, where there's now opening up, like you can use wrestler instead.
And they tell you about where everyone's come from and what federations and feuds they had, and he's been brutally honest about. Yeah, I agree. I was just surprised. Yeah.
Neither one of these girls, honestly, really deserve to be in the spots that they are. I think it's Laurinaitis and Vince booking that. I think Triple H and the rest of the guys are sort of stuck with at the moment. The Rousey to be on big money, so they got to keep her on there, right? And Liv Morgan, I don't know what happened there with her. The fans weren't buying it. She smiles all the bloody time.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless they're going to turn her into a crazy.
I wrote here, why is Liv fucking smiling? The match is starting. Right, you're supposed to look like you've got an aggression against the other person. You're smiling at her, and then on the finish, she's in a mounted triangle.
Yeah,
with a woman's ass in her face, and she's smiling.
Yeah,
she's smiling that she's in the triangle. I mean, you happy to be there?
I would smile depending which lady wrestler's ass I was in, but Rousey's.
But you're meant to be in a fight with someone where you're going, I don't want to be here. And she's smiling as it's happening. And then the match finishes 1, 2, 3, and she gets up smiling. I've gone, what the fuck? Yeah. I mean, if you lost $5 in the street, you'd be pissed off. I know I would be. So I've just been humiliated in front of millions of people after losing a match, losing a fight, because that's what I was supposed to be doing, and I'm smiling about it. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
Look, I just think, you and I have spoken a million times over the years. Yeah, some people have either got it or they haven't.
Yep.
Bad Bunny got it. Rey Mysterio's son Dominic doesn't.
Yep.
Things like Liv doesn't.
And
Rousey doesn't, but she comes. I understand why she's there because of all the people it brings and blah, blah, blah. I get that, but I still don't think. But she doesn't have it.
To give you an idea of how bad these two girls are, right? I'll give you one more, right? They worked the spot in the corner with the chair, right? Right. The chair fell out of the thing because they hit the ropes and the chair popped out from the corner. So the spot was going to be where Rousey was going to get kicked into the chair.
Yes.
Right. So the psychology of it was right, where she was selling that she didn't want to go into the chair and the look on her face, I'm scared. But the chair wasn't there anymore. You've lost the spot. Move the spot and keep going. This would be an experienced person if you had a Charlotte Flair or a Becky Lynch, or the list goes on and on. They would have worked their way around that spot, and you would have never have been able to see that mistake.
Yeah.
It would have been hit. Those two had no idea.
And what about when Rousey was trying to get her in, I don't know what she was trying to get her into, but she couldn't get her own leg hooked. And they went and went and went.
Is that at the end where they went? She went into the seated.
Yeah.
They were looking. She was looking for a triangle.
Yeah, but she couldn't get her leg hooked or under or whatever she was trying to do.
Because the other girl doesn't know how to wrestle.
Trying rather than just leave it and go into something else. Like
Liv Morgan can't feed to it. She doesn't know how to do it. She can't feed to it.
No.
you know, and look, good luck to Liv Morgan, you know, but you know, how can you be on a pay-per-view for a WWE event, hold the belt, right? When you know there's probably in that locker room another 10 other girls that could do that spot comfortably.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, without being overcritical.
Oscar, the list goes on. I mean,
got that little other Japanese girl, Sky. Io Sky. You know, you've got, you got a dozen other girls who can do it.
Well, but they did the big promo later in the show about Charlotte Flair coming back.
Yeah.
So I would imagine she'll take the belt off Rousey.
It's either going to be Rousey or I think the big money in that, personally, is her versus Belair. That's the big money. I don't think anyone cares about Rousey.
No, but that's it. But your words there makes that belt irrelevant.
It is irrelevant.
Well,
she's holding it.
If you've got Bianca Belair on one brand and Flair on the other, then Becky's probably not far away and Bayley's back in the frame. All of a sudden, you've got a bit of talent.
You'd be better off moving Bayley to friggin' Smackdown, right? Well, I think that's where Ronda is, isn't she? Smackdown or Raw?
Yeah.
Or Smackdown, right?
Yeah.
Let her drop the belt to Bayley. You have a heel and face. You got somewhere for friggin' for Charlotte to go, right? Which would be against Belair. Well, Belair will learn a ton from Flair, and they'll be able to produce some great matches. And then if you bring back Becky Lynch with Bayley, there's former history there, and you could run a really good storyline and match series between two women that are not as agile or athletic as the other two, but could definitely put on a good storyline and it'd be a heated feud.
I really didn't like the match.
No, not at all. I gave it a 4. That was being nice. I gave it a 4 and it was being nice.
Because I think it's not that they didn't try, but they don't have it. Neither of them.
At that level, it's not about trying, though, Pete. They should be there at that level.
The other thing is usually one has it, one doesn't, and one can sort of carry or call. But when both don't have it, you got to know where you can go.
And that's right. And this has
it's weak.
This has been a problem with WWE hiring.
Yeah,
right across the board, right?
Yeah.
This is why we've got this, because Laurinaitis would have hired her on looks alone, right? We'll turn her into a wrestler. If you're not a wrestler to start with, right, it's going to be very, very hard for you to become a wrestler. I mean, you and I have seen some women that you would think would be great that were terrible, and some women that come in and they're absolutely great.
Well, I had one lady I used to use quite a bit, and I won't name her, of course. You couldn't do anything with her. Like, you just couldn't do anything with her.
Even if you put her in there with Sherry Sinatra, she couldn't do it. Couldn't make a good match.
No, well, I did.
And Sherry's the best.
I did.
Her generation.
I did put her in with Sherry quite a few times. And God bless her, Sherry sort of had to carry the match and that. And look, Sherry still is the best women's wrestler I've ever seen.
I've only seen her live once because, but what I've seen on tape, her and Pixie were probably the two of their generation that were locally that were the best. So, and they wrestled like blokes. They wrestled like guys. So, but yeah, I think that,
A quick story on Sherry. One night we did a show and we got back into the dressing room and her opponent was lit up like Sheamus was with chops of that. And someone said something to her and she just turned around and said to one of the male wrestlers, well, if she can't take it, she shouldn't be in the ring.
Yep.
And that was her attitude. Yeah. She was, you get in there, we're going to do this. Yeah. She was by far, I mean, I promoted her for years and worked with her for years. I mean, I've known her since the mid-'80s. Still, pound for pound, one of the best women wrestlers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And toughest.
Yeah.
Tough. To use a JR thing, tough was a $2 steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, love her. Yeah.
We need to get her on this show one day. We really do.
We really need to. She won't hold back and she calls it as she sees it. I love Sherry. Yeah, she's great. But anyway, I only gave this one a 5. But Anthony's the aficionado on ladies' matches. And I must say, I wouldn't want to be in Ronda Rousey's thighs, but I wouldn't say no to Liv. But what did you think, Anthony? Or were your glasses fogged up?
I wrote 3 things here.
3 things, okay.
Clusterfuck, waste of time, 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. That's harsh.
Yeah.
I thought I was being harsh at 4. I don't feel that bad.
I thought I was harsh at 5, but
I don't feel that bad now.
But actually, Anthony, you know what? As silly as it sounds, well, maybe it's not silly. I think you actually just summed it up beautifully.
Yes.
It really was a bit of a train wreck of a match. And such a letdown from what we had just come off. You're on the high from the Donnybrook, you know. And then this comes on. I know they've got to pace the women's matches out through the show. You can't have 2 or 3 in a row or whatever. But, yeah.
You expect a lull off the first match. You expect a little bit of a dip. But that nosedive to the crowd wasn't even into it. I think they were going there to get popcorn.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, so then we moved along and we were hoping the show would pick up a bit. And what did we get next, Anthony?